So my first art class, my very first art class was when I was just a child. My mom used to put me in like daycare, arts and crafts daycare, I guess, like summer camps. She always would just like put me in art classes instead of me being at home. So I always was doing stuff with my hands, but the sort of like moment where I felt like I became an artist or was an artist was definitely in high school. We were really lucky in our high school. We had a wonderful arts program and teacher. We had a 2D class and a 3D class. And I took the 3D class because I enjoyed like working with clay and making sculptures out of clay and stuff. And I just showed a real interest in that class. And then my mom, she always has just been so good about sort of guiding me on a path. She sent me this opportunity in Birmingham, Alabama, which is where I'm from, to work over the summer as a high school student as a part of the Sloss Summer Youth Apprenticeship Program. And Sloss Furnaces is a metal casting foundry that used to be a industrial blast furnace, like pig iron blast furnace manufacturer in the from the 40s to the 70s. And when they shut down, the site was saved as a historical site by a bunch of artists who were welders and fabricators and cast iron artists. And so I applied for this program and it was life-changing. They paid me minimum wage to learn how to cast iron and make like coins and bookends and little objects that they could sell in the gift shop throughout the year. And there was 20 kids and we all learned all of these crazy skills as like 15 and 16-year-olds. I was super young and just really lucky that I had this opportunity in my hometown. So, there's opportunities out there for youth. There's opportunities out there for kids, and a lot of it's free or subsidized. You just have to find it. And I think if you have an interest, having parents who support your interest is really so important, because I would never be where I am today if my mom hadn't sent me that email. That program absolutely changed my life. It taught me how to make things and sell them, and it taught me that there is such a thing as a working artist, and the starving artist thing is just a complete, it's a stereotype. So yeah, it's really cool. So I got my start at Sloss Furnaces in Birmingham, Alabama. So my art and electricity go hand in hand, from down to the most basic elemental things. So neon is a noble gas, and it is called a noble gas. If you remember the periodic table of the elements, all the way on the right side are your 7 noble gases: neon, krypton, argon, xenon, radon, helium, and another one that I think is like a synthetic. Anyway, so all of our noble gases, they have a really stable outside electrode shell, like your outer ring of electrodes. Anyway, very stable, very noble. So when they're electrified, these gases do not heat up. They are very room temperature. And that is why neon was first used in a Geissler tube they noticed that these gases lit up. They noticed they weren't getting hot. And so that is kind of where the birth of neon came from. So there's that. That's what it is. It's an electrified gas. And everything that we do kind of circulates around that. So the electricity that you need for every unit depends on how much footage of glass there is, the diameter of your tube, all kinds of things. And you have to do calculations to figure that out for each project. How much power do I need for each project? Sometimes you have to split it up, et cetera, et cetera. It's just, we use electricity for everything. We're always working with electrical stuff. Processing the tubes is very dangerous. You process it with a 60,000 volt bombarder. Your wall outlet, as you guys might know, is 120 volts. So it's a lot of electricity, and you do that to heat the tube up and rid it of any impurities as you're pulling a vacuum, so that when you backfill it with that noble gas, the only thing that's in there, it's like an atmospheric zero. There's no air. It's only that gas. And that's because air has a lot of stuff in it that when you electrify, it heats up. So yeah, I mean, light is electricity, right? It's a form of electricity. Okay. What do I think the most rewarding thing about being a trailblazer is? This question's hard because I think so often I focus on the negative of what it's like to run my business or do things that I have nobody to reach out to for advice, being essentially alone. And Neon's a very small community. There's not a lot of people who practice it. There's not a lot of people who practice it who I feel like I can ask questions. We have a serious lack of like technical engineers in our industry, and there's like maybe 3 people who I would reach out to and ask, and none of them, are in Phoenix or local. So anyway, what is the most rewarding thing about being a trailblazer? I think it's that knowing that I am living the life that I'm creating. It's knowing that I can set my schedule. It's knowing that I'm in charge. I'm not, working for anyone else. I'm exploring. I'm doing things that, people haven't tried before, and that's really exciting. And I think a lot of time, especially women, can be so self-critical and really hard on ourselves. And I know that I'm creating, space for someone who comes after me. And yeah, I think this is such a difficult question because it's so easy for me to name 50 things that are difficult and break me down, and I think this is great. I think being recognized, being featured, that's always very rewarding. Having someone recognize your skills and your talents is super rewarding. Yeah. I think my personal message for readers would be follow your dreams. Even if people question them or doubt them, or they tell you that it's impossible, that you're not going to succeed, like use that as fuel, use everything you can as fuel. And just remember that it's not a race. It's a marathon, and the journey is really long, and it's important to not get burnt out. It's important to take care of yourself. It's important to build community. I think another piece of advice would be like, it's not a competition. We're not actually competing against anyone. There's enough to go around for everyone, especially artists. Like, build a community. The bigger the community, the bigger the pie, and the bigger the pie, the bigger a piece everyone gets. It's not like a every man for himself. That is such a farce. That is such a lie. There's no bigger lie than individualism and telling people that it's like the survival of the fittest, because that's just not true. That's just not true. Everything I've done, the reason I'm here, has all been because of my friends and my family and my community. So share your knowledge, share your tools, share your friends. The more love that's in your life, the bigger your heart gets, and yeah, don't be weird. Don't be egotistical. Just be a nice person. It's not hard,